Hey guys, before the video starts, just a couple of things. I'm not a professional pilot, and this video was solely made for flight sim purposes. A few things on the checklists I'm not going to be familiar with, and I'll let you guys know if I'm not familiar with them. For the most part, I am familiar with most things on the checklist, and I hope you guys learned something from this and can benefit off it when you're flying on the VATSIM or any other flight sim network. Thanks guys, enjoy the video. Hey guys, Flying Birdie here with my first YouTube video. Today we're going to be looking at the full flight procedures checklist made by Vin Kazin and Berzerker. This is for the Toliss A321. The reason why I'm making this video is I haven't found any tutorials on YouTube that follow this procedure at all. It's a very detailed procedure, and I thought I would make a tutorial for anyone who would be interested in following it. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so here we go. So the first thing it wants us to do, external power request. I don't have any special plugins or anything of that sort, so via the Toliss plugin, ready, external power is already available. So we're fine there. Block fuel, same thing. I don't have any special plugins or mods or anything of that sort to request a fuel truck to bring fuel to my airplane. So we can check that off. We'll be using the Toliss menu to refuel the aircraft later on in the video. Forward and aft doors, if we wanted to simulate that, we would go here and open the doors that we would want to simulate, but since this is just a tutorial video, just going through the checklist, we don't need to do that right now. You can mess with the doors there. Alright, so we'll move on to the next steps here. First major step is to enable the external power, if available, and it is available. So we'll go ahead and do that. And then we'll adjust the dome lights as needed. The dome lights are right here. So usually in the day they're at dim, and at night they're bright. They can also be off during the day. That's bright, that's dim, that's off. We can leave them at dim. And you're going to see the checklist will check off things automatically if it sees that they are in the checked or set position. But we'll still go through everything just so you guys know where it is. Engine master 1 and 2 are off. Located down here, yep, that is true. They are both off. Weather radar off. System switch right here, centered, so it is off. Let's see, gear down. Yep, gear lever is down. Wiper left off. Wiper right off. Batteries greater than 25.5 volts. They're both at 28. And we can extinguish the lights that are showing here, so we actually turn on the batteries. Extinguish pretty. Oh, look at that. Extinguish pretty much means to make sure none of the nothing's illuminated on the buttons there. So they are set. And then APU fire test, we can go ahead and do that, but we're not going to start the APU because we do have external power. But we'll do that test anyways. So the reason why I jumped to the second page there is because we filled up that whole page with the check marks. Filled it up completely. So I went back and unfortunately reset the check marks, but it's alright, we'll just continue here. X-bleed switch is going to be set to auto, which it is. Econ flow is on. Econ flow is on. Oh. Pack 1 extinguished, and it says it should be on fault. I've never seen it on fault, so I'm not sure what that exactly means. But since we are less than 141 passengers, we can turn it off actually. And cargo heat switch to the center position, which they are. Alright, we'll go to the next page. Alright, Captain ND display is bright. We'll go ahead and do that. Navigational display right here. Turn up the brightness. Captain PFD, primary flight display, is going to be bright. We'll go ahead and do that. And then the same thing on the flight officer side. We'll go ahead and do that if we did have a flight officer. But we don't, so we don't really need to worry about that. We'll just check that off. And upper and lower ECAM systems will come on. Make them bright. Okay, we're going to check the oxygen. We do have more than 1,000 psi. We have 1,200. We're going to check the fluid. Going to hydraulics. Or no, I'm sorry. Flight controls, yes. So it's going to show here GVY. I'm not sure exactly what all of this means. This is where you would check it. So we'll go ahead and check that. Engine oil, it's definitely going to be an engine. So it says here 9.5 plus 0.5 per flight hour. We have 11.7, 11.9. That's definitely sufficient. And then it says to engine page unload. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but that isn't very crucial to our flight, so we're alright with checking that off there. Okay, speed brakes disarmed. They are disarmed. If they were armed, they would be up like that, but they are disarmed. Flap level 0. Parking brake is active. And we will do a walk around now, but we're not going to simulate that here. Okay, oxygen crew supply. So we're going to head up here again. And that's going to be located here. It should be extinguished. Yep, it is extinguished. GPWS buttons. So they should all be extinguished except these two. These two should be showing fault, which is good. Evac system. That lever needs to be up, switched, which I have just done. And then we're going to start to align the ADIRS. So we're going to hit the first one here to nav. Wait until this light goes away. Then we can do the second one. See, they're not in order here. It goes 1, 2, and then 3's in the middle. And then the third one. Okay, and then the strobe light can go to on. Now it says auto here, but I've never seen any airline actually just switch it to auto. They usually just turn it on. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Nav and logo, same thing. It says here 1 for day or 2 for night. I usually, from my experience, I've heard that if the pilot's flying the airplane, he'll switch it to 1. If the co-pilot or the first officer's flying, he'll switch it to 2. It's the same light, it's just 2 different bulbs. So one bulb just isn't overused or goes out before the second one. That's why they alternate it. So we can just switch it to 1. That's fine. So that's why they do that. Remaining external lights, they should all be off, which they are. Seatbelt signs, if refueling is completed, it's not, so we won't worry about that for now. No smoking signs should go to auto. There you go. Emergency exit lights armed. And the AN light, which is located here, let me get a better angle. Right here. Bright for day or dim for night. So it's on bright. You can go to dim, but we're gonna leave it on bright just for this tutorial, just so everything is nice and easily seen. So if we have to mess with any other lights, which are located, let's see, what else do we have here? Standby. They're all located around here. Here's the OV HD. Here's the standby compass. And here's the dome. If we had to mess with those, we would mess with those, but we don't. They're in perfect condition for the flight today. Okay, probe window heat should be extinguished. I'll zoom back out here a little bit. Why am I missing it? Right here. Yeah, it is extinguished. Cockpit aft and forward temperature should be adjusted. We would adjust those through there. Batteries 1 and 2. So what I want you to do is head to the electric page down here. And it wants you to turn off the batteries. Make sure there's no spike in the amps or anything of that sort, I believe, which we're not seeing. After 10 seconds, it should not be above 60 amps, or it's not spiking at all, so we should be fine. We can turn those back on. Just to ensure no spike. Yep, we're fine. So we can check those off. Fuel pumps all on. So we just flick those. Alright, and then we're going to fire test engine 1. And engine 2. Okay. And then the next few steps aren't simulated, so we're going to skip those. Okay, so here we go. Left console. it wants me to set the QNH, which I'm not too sure exactly what it is. If you're flying on a network or something of that sort where we have the ATIS, we would be able to adjust that through doing this here. And the ADR, standby ADR, showing 2 red flags. I'm not sure exactly what that means. It's definitely a reference to something here, but to be completely honest with you, I have no idea what that exactly means. Alright, then we're going to switch to the right console. This was the left, here's the right. Gear down, gear is down, left and right brake pressure is working. So how we're going to test that is we're going to turn off the brake here for a second. I have my feet now on the rotor pedals, and I'm going to push down on the right brake. Oh, there you go. I'm going to push down the right brake. You're going to see this gauge up and down, so that's working. And the left one, same thing, it's working. Perfect. And we can reset the parking brake. Acupressure in green. It isn't, so what we're going to do is we're going to head up here to electric pump, turn that on. Alright, it's going into the green now, so we can turn it off. Alright, chronometer, we're going to make sure it's the correct time, which it is, and set the GPS, which it is. Okay, and we got 3 green down locked for the landing gear, and the brake fan right here is on if we need to cool the brakes, which we don't, so we're fine. Alright, we can go to the next page. So, radio, first air frequency on standby. So we could turn on the radio here. And then if we were flying, like I said, on a network or something where we had a frequency, we could plug that in. Same thing with the audio, right? These are both here, so you can listen to one frequency while also talking on another, right? So if you were approaching an airport, you would be able to talk to the approach ATC while also listening to the ATIS of the airport, which is very useful. Flood and the integer light, intake light, right here you can adjust. These help you during the night to help illuminate the main panel here, along with the main panel and PED. But we don't need those right now because we're flying in the day, so we're not going to worry about those. Weather radar is off. It's a secondary check. We already checked earlier on the flight list, but we'll check again. And it is off. It is centered. Multi-scan should go to auto. PWS is off. Yep. GCS is auto. Tilt 5 units up, so we're going to switch that to 5 units up. Zoom in so you guys can see that it's lined up to 5. Perfect. And speed brakes are disarmed again. Secondary check. They are disarmed. Cockpit door should be at a norm. Right now it's unlocked, so we're going to switch that to norm. There you go. Alright. Reset our camera there for a second. So it just wants us to make sure that all of these buttons are working up here. We can go to all, just make sure we can flick through all of them. Yep, all looks fine. Upper and lower ECAM system, again, we can adjust the lighting, but lighting's fine through these 2 knobs. Flap level 0. Now it wants me to check that through the ECAM system here. I'm not too sure how to exactly do that. And these 2 other LDG elevator, which I believe that stands for, not sure how to check that or the status. So those 3, I'm not too sure of. But again, they aren't essential to flight. They certainly aren't. Alright, thrust level is idle, which it is. Right there, lined up. Engine masters, again, are off. Parking brake is active, again. Rudder trim is 0. And gravity gear, which is here, is locked. If it was unlocked, it would look like that. Oh. Just put it back, there you go. Alright, again, now this would be for the first officer, exactly what we did here. Just he's going to mess with the transponder, so we'll just skip a few steps. We'll skip the radio, the audio, and the floodlight, like we did on the left side. So the transponder, make sure it's on, which it is. And that TCAS is set to abbreviated. I'm not sure what this step here is, transponder 1 or 2. I'm not sure what that's referencing. So we're not going to worry about that. Again, not essential to flight. But transponder, TCAS, we're going to make sure that's abbreviated. And the status should be standby, which it is. Right? If I wanted to change that, I would change that through there. And then it says to packs and cargo. I'm guessing that is referencing here, where we would mess with our settings. for our passengers and our cargo. We're just going to go with the settings we have here. Again, not too crucial because we aren't actually going to fly the aircraft. This is just a tutorial for a set of procedures. So we're just going to leave what we have here, and we can actually go ahead and apply these settings. Perfect. Okay. MCDU brightness, we're going to increase the brightness right here. Now if I had a first officer, he would do that on that side, but we're just going to focus on this one. We only need one. Okay. Aircraft model, we're going to make sure it's correct. A321 200, which is correct. Engine rating, IAE, this is all good. Nav database is actual, yep, we're up to 2006. And preferred factor is going to be less than 6%, which it is. Or plus or minus 6%, which it is. Okay, then we're going to head to the init page. So what flight I'm going to be putting in, just to show you guys how the MCDU works, is right here. It's a flight from KJFK, which we are parked at now, to Buffalo. So I'm going to enter all this information on my MCDU. So let me get that here. Okay. So we're going to enter KJFK to KB US, Buffalo. Hit that here. Flight number, we're going to be JBU, which is JetBlue, 684. Cost index is 30. And cruise, I believe is, yeah, it's 260. Okay, and then it says to do wind. I'm not sure exactly what that means here. I'm not sure how to exactly do that. But again, not crucial to flight, and it says to align RS, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so then we're going to head to the flight plan page, and we're going to fill this out. Now, I wouldn't follow this exactly to how it is, just because you're going to have to do a lot of things with discontinuities and all of that. So I'm going to go through my own way of doing it, which is certainly fine, and just to show you guys how to do it. So first, you want to enter the airport that you're at, and the runway we're going to be departing, which is 22 right. So after I finish this, we should be down to here, because this is exactly what all we're doing here right now. And we're going to enter the Betty 6 departure, or the SID, and no transition. Back to flight plan and insert it. Okay, perfect. And then we're going to enter our first waypoint. We're going to go direct to Neon, which is N-E-I-O-N. We're going to enter that here. Perfect. And then we're going to click on Neon, because from Neon we're going to enter a airway, which is the J223. J223. And we're going to take that for a little bit until we reach chords. So C, or C, C-O-R-D-S. Okay, we can insert that. It's going to put in some extra waypoints there, which is fine, which is perfect. Okay, then we're going to click on chords, go to airways, and from chords we're going to hop on another airway, J132. And we're going to hop on that until ULW. And we're going to insert that. And then from ULW we're going to go direct to Beanie, which is B-E-N-E-E. Insert that. And then we're going to clear this flight plan discontinuity. Oh, clear, there you go. There you go. And we're going to enter the arrival we're going to be hoping for, or expecting, which is ILS 05. There are no stars into Buffalo. Not that big of an airport, or busy of an airport. Just checking it over now. Looks all good. We can also check it over by going to plan, looking at it here. Oh, no, like this. Camera's being a little weird right now. There you go. Okay, first that's the Sid, Betty, then to Neon. This is our route. Perfect, and there's the approach. Very nice. And the blue is the go around if we have to go around. Okay, so again, we just did all of these things here, so we can consider those checked off. And then it wants me to go to nav mode and set that, and then CSTR active. It's going to show the constraints for the SID, what we can fly at, what altitude we can fly at specifically. The route, make sure there's no discontinuities. That's what we just went through. We made sure it was all good. We just checked that, so we're good there, and we can continue. Okay, VOR2 frequency, we're not going to be needing. Same thing here, we're not going to need any of these, ADF or CRS1, so we're going to leave those alone. ZFW and ZFWCG, so we're going to go to the init B page, which you access by hitting this arrow here. And how I'm going to get all these numbers is by going to, let's see here, Toliss. And we're going to use, let's use 10,000. We will refuel the aircraft, so now the aircraft is refueled just like that. And we're going to select what config we're going to need for flaps, which is 2, and now we have all this information here. So ZFW is 65.3, that's what this means here. So, and with a ZFWCG of 27.4, so we're going to enter this information here. So ZFW, which is 65.3. Okay, and actually we have to do this together. 65.3, and the ZFW CG is 27.4. Perfect. So those are entered. Block fuel is 10. How many? Right here, 10.0. Perfect. I don't know what else does it want us to do. Reserve fuel and final fuel. So that would be entered here. I've never had, through all my research, I haven't found how to enter that correctly. And it looks like it already is entered here, so I don't think we need to worry about those. So we should be good because our flight plan is all fine. So those are set. Alright, let me just move this out of this way for a second. What this next page is asking for is a secondary flight plan, and I'm sure how to do this, so we're going to go ahead and skip this. Again, not crucial for most flights on any sort of flight sim or anything of that sort, a flight sim network. Again, this is just the final thing about missed approach and all of that, so we're gonna skip that. We have this next section here, so it's asking for all this information, which I believe is just asking us to prepare. I don't think there's any way of actually accessing it. Even though it's saying flight plan and approach page, it wouldn't be in here. So again, I'm not too sure, but I don't think we need to worry about this for now. It's just telling us to brief ourselves on what we would be doing. Yeah, because we would know the QNH, or we would need the QNH as we approach Buffalo. Along with the temperature, mag, the wind, and all of this information here. Alright, so we can move to the next page. So, what it wants us to do now is go to the preference page, enter the flaps, /THS. So what we're going to do is going to open the menu again. Okay, so I'm going to set to 2. Perfect. And this is the THS DNO or DN01. So what we're going to do is set the flaps. The flaps are going to be set to 2 / DNO, DN0, I'm sorry. Where's the N? N 0.1. And we will enter that here. I believe that's correct. Not 100% sure, but I believe that's correct. And then the flex temp is 38. I'm sure of that. Which we both need to enter. What else is wanted? And the V1, V2, and V3. So V1's 162. Not a full aircraft, but certainly not a light aircraft. VR is 162. And the V2 is 165. Perfect. So that's all entered there. So this is already entered here, the THR red. Not exactly sure what that means, but we don't need to mess with that. And the ACC height, again, not too sure exactly, but we're not going to need to mess with that. And it says that is needed, so we're okay. Okay, cockpit door is checked as closed and locked, so we're going to lock it. It was at norm, but we're going to lock it. And then we can turn on the APU by going to here, turn on the master switch. And then we're going to make sure that the flap opens. What page is it here? Here we go, the APU page. And we're going to wait until it says flap open. Just reset my screen here. The master is on. There it is, flap open. And we can start the APU. Make sure parking brake is set. Yep. Okay, oxygen mask test, unfortunately it's not modeled. Cockpit lighting is fine, we don't need to mess with that. We're going to enable LS active, or put on LS as active. FD switch on captain side, we're good there. ND display mode, should be going to ARC or ARC, so we can switch that. ND display range as needed, fine there. ND nav switches, VDR or ADF, they can just stay off. They're actually set to VOR1, but we're going to be using them for this flight, so they can be set wherever they need to be set. Barometer, so barometer, we would set that here. But again, we don't have an ATIS, so we're not going to worry about that for this flight. Speed managed mode, so this is talking about the autopilot here. Just going to make sure that's all functioning, which it is. It's responding, which is fine. Altimeter, it says the initial climb altitude is set. I'm not sure exactly where that means to set it to. I'm guessing we can set it here, which is going to be 5,000. I'm assuming that's what it's referencing. Because that's according to the SID, of course. Alright, so this is for the first officer. This is pretty much exactly what we did on the captain side, so we won't worry about that. And then it's asking to go to the overhead here. And make sure that, right here, hold on. The RCDR ground control, so that's going to be recording us, recording section, is on, or the voice recorder. Seatbelt signs should be on because we are refueled as I did earlier. So seatbelt signs can come on. APU bleed should be coming on. APU bleed on. External power disconnect because we do have the APU as it is running perfectly on. External power is off. And cargo and pack stores are closed, so we can go ahead and do that now. Make sure all is good. Here we go. Oh. Just close all doors. Okay, so I would brief with the first officer now if we're going to do a full simulation. And then I would contact ATC about IFR startup clearance. Obviously we can't because we're not connected to any sort of network. They would give us the SID, the initial altitude, transponder code, transponder, and we would turn on our beacon light, which we can do that. Okay, and then we would contact ATC for push. So that's it, guys. We are ready for push and start. That was the full tutorial using this checklist, this very detailed checklist. Just again, guys, I'm not a professional pilot or anything, and there were a few things that I didn't know in there, and I try to let you guys know. If I didn't know exactly what to do, I let you guys know. So But all of those things that I wasn't familiar with aren't really crucial to be able to fly on any sort of network and be as professional as possible. So you guys are definitely fine with the information I provided you today to at least start up the aircraft and be ready to push and start on, VATSIM or any other network that you are looking to fly on. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and yeah, talk to you guys soon. Thanks.